Without further ado, please welcome up to our stage. We've got the one and only Courtney Warner here, her debut on our Bitcoin Day stage. Good to see you grab a microphone. And rare passengers in the house. Everybody. Wow, so great to finally meet you. And of course, Joey, please get on up here. Joey Langenbrunner. And quite the electric crowd. Nick, I'm going to let you take it away and
Awesome.
roll with it. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. How's everyone doing today? Awesome. So we're going to be talking about living on Bitcoin, and I'm meeting them for the first time also. But they all live on Bitcoin in their own way. So I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves, and then we'll just kind of get a chat going.
Hello, everybody. My name is Courtney Warner, a.k.a. Courtney Shrem. I'm Charlie Shrem's wife. It's an honor to be here. I've been to many, many conferences, but this is the first time I've been on my fireside chat panel, so please be nice to me. But basically, I actually ended up doing the very first Bitcoin transaction in 2013 at a nightclub in New York City, and that's actually how I met Charlie. So we're married ever since that happened.
What year was that?
2013. So needless to say, San Jose, California was my very first Bitcoin conference. Wow, what a difference it is today. The innovation, it was basically just a social experiment to me at the time. And then I thought it was just an alternative payment system, and it ended up being my entire life. But basically, you could just go to the nightclub and actually use a QR code with your iPad and connect it to another server, and you got your drink or your bottle of champagne. So yeah, it's an honor to be here. Thanks.
Everyone, mic on? There we go. Hey everyone, I'm Rare. Verified now, thanks to Ben. Where's Bitcoin Ben? Anyways, so I'm a transplant to Florida. I actually started one of the first remote animation studios in animation history back in 2008, before remote work became a thing, and was also one of the first animation studios in history to adopt the Bitcoin standard back in 2020. And then we've been working with Hollywood studios to onboard them onto Bitcoin as well since that time. And I've been living on Bitcoin since 2020. I'm bankless. I have been for a while. And for the last two and a half years, my wife and I, we've been living nomadically while working remotely as well. So I'm happy to be here and make an introduction to everybody.
Awesome.
Man, you guys are awesome. It's such an honor to be up here. So my name is Joey Langenbrunner. I got into Bitcoin back in 2016. I worked with the Free Republic of Liberland, which is like a startup country where it was basically like the first country that was like started by like Bitcoiners for Bitcoiners. And so from that space, I got into like the digital nomad world, started selling residencies and passports, like mostly to crypto people as well. So I used to live in Lisbon, Portugal, a huge place for a bunch of crypto nomads. So if you're looking for like nomad living and crypto and stuff like that, that's kind of like my wheelhouse. But it's an absolute honor to be up here.
That sounds amazing. I definitely need to pick your brain after this as well, because I've thought about getting a passport for another country and doing all that stuff. It's really interesting. But so the title of this panel is Living on Bitcoin, and I was thinking, like, what the hell should we talk about? Because living on Bitcoin could mean like a lot to someone, like different to every single person. You could hear living on Bitcoin, be like, oh, I'm gonna make so much money. You could hear living on Bitcoin, it changed the way I think, and I feel like everyone's experience based on just the word living on Bitcoin means something completely different. So I'd just like to ask you yourself, like, what does it mean to you?
I think it's pretty cool when you say living on Bitcoin, because I really do believe you can live on Bitcoin in so many different ways. And that's why I was a little nervous to get up here, because physically I don't live on Bitcoin. I mean, we do, but we also diversify. But also just my whole life has been Bitcoin. Like I said, when I thought it was just an alternative payment system, and then, and then I'm going to all these conferences around the world, and I'm meeting all these amazing people. I mean, Eric Voorhees and Jeremy Gardner was at our wedding. Like, it was just, you can't make this up, you know? So it was just, I just met some really, really amazing people, and Charlie is just the most amazing person I've ever met. Unfortunately, I was with him when he had his, situation in 2014. We were at JFK Airport when he got arrested, and that was really, really hard. So I'm an actress, and I left New York to go help take care of Charlie while he was being transferred to federal prison. So, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Whew. And then also just watching him through this journey, I have PTSD through the whole situation as well. I never dreamed that I would ever have that, but it helps me my acting career, so thank you. No, but in all seriousness, it's been a learning experience for us because unfortunately, we always talk about it being a blessing in disguise that he did get arrested because he needed humility, and we all did. And I think it was a wake-up call in a way because he was getting lost in the space, and he was getting lost in different ways that, he could have been going down a really bad path, and I think that was a wake-up call. So, and now our life has been amazing, and we're so honored to be able to preach to everybody that, hold on for life. But no, living on Bitcoin, actually, when he was getting ready to go to prison, we were able to move in together because he's a Syrian Jew, and he left the community, and I'm not Jewish, so I wasn't accepted in the community. So we had that on top of him going to prison, so it was just a lot. And now we're here, and I can't even believe this is so many people in this room right now, and so many women in this room right now. Let's give it up. So yeah.
Thank you so much for
Of
sharing
course.
some of your story. She's her and her husband are literally OGs in this space. They've been in here since 2012, 2013. They are etched in Bitcoin history in that time. And it's really cool just to share a stage with you because you had a very interesting perspective on everything going down that time. Yeah. And I love how you guys took that negative situation and then you grew from it and you learned how to get better from it.
Yeah.
So it's very inspiring, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes. So Rare, living on Bitcoin, where does your mind go?
Sovereignty.
Sovereignty?
Sovereignty. I didn't really understand what that word meant until you are, like Charlie and Ross. You come head to head with the state, with power that's just right in front of you. You don't know what you can do about it. It's whether it's flying a flag, or it comes from an economic branch, right on Wall Street. Being able to look adversity and then you can stand your ground and be like, nope, I'm here. Come take it. Fuck you. Sorry,
100%.
guys. Children's show.
He cussed first.
So we're from the Northeast, Boston area. Felt powerless during 9/11. We lost people, friends and family.
Sorry to hear that.
I'm so sorry.
2008, my parents lost everything. So, I'm coming back from Canada, and I'm also watching, my savings deplete and all that stuff. It's who can you actually look to?
You said this was 2008?
2008. So we lost everything. I looked into sound money, what the economics are, who's responsible, and how the hell do you protect yourself from this stuff, right? I was a gold bug. As Saifuddin would say, he's a recovering gold bug addict. So when we started seeing political unrest during the 2020 campaign season, I was looking for a way to protect my business, because I work in Hollywood, and if you're so much as 2 millimeter to the right of Bernie Sanders, you're watching your bank account get shut down. So
I think I heard about that.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of friends, they lost their banking privileges, some of them went out of business. So we tried to get ahead of the curve, and I was trying to find a way to pay people and sound money. So it was 2019 when I was really looking into stuff. And then we found Bitcoin. I started taking my paycheck in it just to see how it goes, because I mean, I have to explain this to people, like, you know, what is this? How does it work? And if I don't know how to do this, how the hell can I explain it to them?
Yeah.
Right? Then, turn of events in 2020, you know, we lost our banking privilege too.
Was that like the trucker?
Yeah, during the trucker protest. So we lost banking access. We got in trouble with the IRS because they're like, oh, you guys are dealing with Bitcoin. Hollywood's already notorious for money laundering, and so like you try to do things by the book. So I lost my banking privilege, and I lost my my stock brokerage account and all that stuff. So everything that they told you was going to be safe and secure, I lost. It was just completely taken away.
That sounds like very dramatic. How did that like change you and change your view on living on Bitcoin?
Well, the way I look at it is like, first off, it was a lifeline. You know, we still had to pay people on production.
Yeah.
That doesn't stop. So Bitcoin was there to help us to weather the storm. During the Canadian trucker protest, we were helping out other studios get on board to Bitcoin, helping other animators and actors, et cetera, find Bitcoin. Because we're like, this is working for us. This is going to work for you. This is the solution. And then afterwards, I mean, I went through about 2 years of legal battles with the IRS and, you know, the state, and it's just like they threatened me with like 10 to 20 years, you know, $250,000 to $500,000 in fines, and, you know, just money. Like, I mean, you're really just up against the wall.
They were attacking you, like they were targeting you.
So it's like I have to, like, number one, you know, I got to take care of a family. I got to take care of my people. I got to take care of.
You're almost forced into living on Bitcoin.
Exactly. So, but then after the storm weathered, and it's like I'm still here.
Yep.
Right? And Bitcoin was the only thing that saved my ass.
Hell yeah.
Sorry again, you know, I'm just.
That's amazing.
But I mean, like, it showed me that it's a very empowering tool. It helps people actually become sovereign individuals, and a lot of it is like being able to position yourself where you're not weak anymore. You know, you can stand up.
It almost gives you like a different mindset looking forward, just because like you have something of hope that you have, that you know in the future is going to be there. There's going to be this, like, and to live on something of like that scarce and secure, and all these like technical things about Bitcoin that I currently like, and that's like the part I don't understand about Bitcoin too much, but it's like, it's so cool to like live on that standard, knowing that like, this is set in stone. The next Bitcoin is locked into future, and we get to know like what we're holding is very scarce. And I think we all have like cool experiences living on Bitcoin. So thank you for sharing that, Rare. And then, so you're Mr. Passport Hopper? Is that what is?
I mean, like, that's a good one, you know, for branding. I might have to keep that in mind.
So what is it like that you do, and then also living on Bitcoin for you?
Yeah, so for me, it's really interesting hearing like your two stories, because like you guys were kind of put into a situation very early on that you guys were forced to be in that situation. And what like I like to educate people is, before you get into that situation, make sure you are prepared. So in case you have a situation like this, you are prepared. And so like I basically really got into Bitcoin kind of like 2015. I first got like, I was a Ron Paul fan. I worked with like the Libertarian Party. I worked on Gary Johnson's campaign. I actually didn't even vote for him because, sorry, because I kind of like lost faith in the system we have here. Just like seeing, all these things that are happening to like the Bitcoin community, people who are involved with freedom. And so for me, seeing that, and then of course all these wars going on, and like who's funding these wars? How do you stop this? And all this international stuff. For me, I started to look for freedom outside of the U.S. So, but that's how it got me involved with like the Liberland Project back in 2017, which if you guys don't know, essentially we found unclaimed land between Serbia and Croatia in Europe, and we stuck a flag and we're saying, hey, this is a new country, and we're going to go around and visit like these other countries and say, hey, we're a new country, and we're like basically founded by like Bitcoiners, funded for Bitcoiners, because like we lost hope, in our country. And just like seeing these stories like this, seeing all the international news, when we travel around, like with an American passport, dude, like half the world hates us, you know? And just like realizing that and just like I've been over 50 countries, and it's like really interesting to see like me as an American, how I'm treated, with each country I go to. And so when we're talking about like living off of Bitcoin, of course, like I'm dealing with international clients, and if I'm dealing with like bank transfers from like different countries, or I have customers that are like maybe like even like in Russia, and like with all the sanctions and stuff like that, like how do I help them get outside of their country? Or even like Ukrainians, like it doesn't matter, like they're in a hard situation, they need to get out, and I need to help them. And sometimes the only option is to deal with this. So what it means, to be on Bitcoin, or like to live on Bitcoin, it's like it's international for me, and it's a choice, and it's great to have a choice.
Hell yeah. That was one thing, thanks for sharing that. The panel before, they were saying like living on Bitcoin and all that. It's very interesting because I forgot where I was going with that, but that's fine. But I had a cool thought, but that happens time to time. But so like, how is living on Bitcoin, like what was the biggest challenge like for you guys? Like if you could share, hey, this is whether it's the volatility, because I know that's a big reason why some people like don't get in Bitcoin, or whatever it may be. Like, what are some of like your common experiences, and how would you like view that?
Well, I would have to say it's the first time I've ever been kicked out of a bank. That was really detrimental.
How did that happen?
We were using Achievia, and they just, I guess, learned that we were Bitcoiners, and I guess they knew who Charlie was or something, and then word got out, and then it's like, you're no longer welcome here. No, but it's crazy because before, like I said, before he went in, our friend is in crypto and real estate, so we actually got our apartment with crypto. So technically, I am living on Bitcoin.
In Bitcoin.
In Bitcoin, yeah. So yeah, and like I love that there's just like a lot of organizations out there that you can literally donate to any choice charity that you want with Bitcoin, with Bitcoin to the charity of your choice. BitGive, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that foundation. Really great people. Again, I met them in 2013, so that's how long they've been around. So they're doing something right. So yeah, I don't know. Any other questions?
Yeah, just so what is like for you like the biggest challenge, like dealing like your day-to-day living on Bitcoin? Like, what are some of the hurdles you have to like face, and just share your story more?
In the early days, it was pretty rough. Like where are you going to spend it, right? You have to figure out, okay.
If you even want to spend it.
Yeah, well, I mean, at that point, I hadn't really caught on to the idea of this thing's going to go to 1 million, 10 million. I was just dabbling into the whole Halfinian part of it all.
Gotcha.
But I'm trying to convince a studio of 70 people. I'm trying to convince board members. I'm trying to convince executive producers. I'm trying to convince all these people to take Bitcoin, and just get laughed out of the room, or people just shut you out. So I'd say like the first maybe 2.5, 3 years was a very isolating experience. And so
I think
like
we all can relate to that. It's like, who can I talk to?
Yeah, so I mean, like, I've survived off of BitRefill and the Bitcoin company, and then finding Travala and all these other services to go through it. I would barter with people and like beg and plead. So it's like, hey, could you buy my groceries and I'll give you Bitcoin? And be like, the hell is this shit, And I'd be like, I'll pay you double, I'll pay you triple, And then I really started to understand free market dynamics and how this stuff actually works. Not what we are told about what free market is, but it's like, no, what is subjective value? What is the like how much Bitcoin am I willing to part for, a bottle of water?
I call it the Bitcoiner's dilemma. Like I drive a 2014 Kia Optima, and I'm like, this is a Bitcoiner's dilemma. Do I sell Bitcoin, or I just keep driving the same car I've been driving for 11 years? It's like, I don't know, like to me, it's like I'm not selling my sats for that.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, like I don't mind spending Bitcoin still.
Yeah.
We still spend it, not as much as we used to anymore, because it seems I don't want institutions to have it. And as much as I love the state of Florida, I don't want it to have Bitcoin either. I'd rather that more individuals have Bitcoin.
Well, that's they can't. I mean, at the end of the day, they can't own more than the individuals because all the supplies like already kind of like been issued. And a lot of these people are long-term holders, so they can only get like in the future like 9% the rest of the time.
Yeah, but even on that, I'd say it's like this: if your enemy or your opponent has a loaded gun and bullets, and all you have are bullets and no gun, or you don't have any, it's like, it's not a fair fight.
Yeah.
So I think if more individuals own more Bitcoin outright, like not the ETF bullshit, not
Actual
the
Bitcoin.
treasury stuff, I mean, I don't think people really understand exactly how powerful it is. When they compare Bitcoin to gunpowder, like that's the real fucking deal. Sorry, again, it's just, it just comes on out. I'm very passionate about this stuff.
I think most people in this room have that in common, or else they
Yeah,
wouldn't be here.
but I mean, like, it is a very powerful thing. I mean, essentially, you have plutonium-grade weapons in your phone. It's in your pocket. You can go around. I mean, once you really start to understand how powerful of a medium it is, it's like, yeah, I'm going to spend my sats, but where am I going to spend it? Who am I going to spend it with, and on what for? Right? So now it's not a matter of just like, well, I want to keep my thing because I don't want to spend the sats. It's like, no, if I'm going to spend my sats, it's going to be because like, I'm getting a great experience out of this. The person I'm giving to is, I like them. I like what they do. And then even from a sovereignty point, it's the way I look at it, because we've been nomadic for the last 2, years going. And look, if you want my tax dollars, if you want my vote, fucking earn it.
100%.
Sorry, again, that's...
No more
that's just
apologizing
yeah.
for saying fucking.
We're done
It's okay.
apologizing. That's just the way it is. It's just, you want my attention, you want my business, you want my money, earn it.
Right.
Who's going to give me a better deal for that? And then I'll spend my Bitcoin happily.
It's funny because I've met a lot of Bitcoiners that like, it's just like the Bitcoin ethos, like who are you, who am I doing business with, don't trust, verify, and all those like common like first principles of Bitcoin. They spread their tentacles in like just like normal day relationships, our conversations. And, like one thing for me, like living on Bitcoin, it's really changed like how I view time. Just like my time preference, I'm not looking to like, if someone asks, oh, I'm gonna make a quick $1 in Bitcoin, it's like, no, that's not Bitcoin, it's a time preference thing, but that's something I learned as I learned about Bitcoin. I didn't know that till I kind of learned about it. So it's like, how has like Bitcoin changed how you view like time, like which is the most scarce asset in this entire planet? Like, sorry, one sec, like I always say about Bitcoin, like if you don't spend the most scarce thing in this planet to learn about Bitcoin, there's no way you're gonna understand about Bitcoin. So you come across people that may just have not spent the time, and it's humbling to spend time. So like it's really changed like just how I view like life. It's like it's not for like Ozempic or anything like immediate gratification, all that shit that's like pushed onto us. Like it's say, hey, I need to put a plan in place like a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. I have a plan that I can actually, the habits are stacked. But that's something I kind of weirdly came to because of Bitcoin. So like, do you have any stories that you could share that maybe are similar to that? Like how you view time different, or just your preference of time?
Well, I think in time, I mean, it's really changed since 2013. And, I have a funny story. 2013, Charlie had a booth for BitInstant, and we were beside PayPal. And PayPal laughed them out of the room in 2013. And look who takes Bitcoin now. PayPal.
They're great too.
Yeah, exactly. So, but as far as time, I mean, or something that's scarce, I think just to set up for God forbid, if there's like a post-apocalyptic situation and, we don't have anything to use, and I mean, I don't even know what would happen if there's a post-apocalyptic situation. I mean, if there's even something to take crypto or Bitcoin, but I'm sorry, I don't really know the question.
You're good, but
Yeah.
For the record, I feel like I'm an imposter right now because I fell into this industry.
you've been in it probably longer than anyone else in here.
I know. And this is my first panel, like I said, so I'm just
You're great.
very nervous.
You're in
right
good
now.
company.
Thank you.
You make us look much better than we do.
I'll share this example. So my craft, we're animators, and we just spend a lifetime on the desk just trying to perfect movement and create the illusion of life, right? You're never done. You can be 70 and still not be called an animator, And I was talking about this with a couple of friends yesterday. It's like, we have these studios and we work and we work and we work. And the whole point is because we have something to say. We want to express it artistically. But the only way to get funding for what we do is we have to go work, because the return on investment, if we go to any, in VC, it's like they're just going to look at us like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, I'm not
There's
spending
that
money
F
on
word again.
Yeah. So we just work and we save, and then when we finally have the money to do what we want to do, we're old and we can't hold a pencil anymore.
Yeah.
And so one thing that kind of dawned on us is like once Bitcoin really started tearing, I was able to say no to a lot of projects.
So it bought you like more time.
It bought me my
Free
time. Yeah, it bought me my time back. It took about a year to understand like what leisure really meant and why it's important, and then it allowed me to pursue creative projects for the pure joy of creativity, not because I have to try to chase a profit. And that to me was like, this is where we're supposed to be. We commoditized art, we commoditized film and music and all that stuff, but on a fiat standard, yeah, it makes sense, but then we look at why everything in the entertainment industry sucks and why we have so many problems. I mean, P. Diddy is not an anomaly, he is the standard, and we should be above that. So
it's a very, very weird time in our culture. And you probably have a very interesting perspective, just being able, like, that's what come to your head. Like, P. Diddy's like,
there's stories, but we'll save that for another panel.
Should we hear them now?
But for the most part, Bitcoin allowed me to buy my time back in ways that I never could have imagined before. And then we're saying like, oh, I don't know what to do with myself. Well, you have time.
Yeah.
It's like, at the rate that I'm going with, I'll probably be able to get where you are by the time I'm 70. And I'm like, well, why don't you just buy Bitcoin and get it over with? Stop fucking around and like let's get this going.
Yeah, it comes down to one of those things. People don't want to put money. They don't learn about what you're investing in. It's just scary. It's especially when you see something that's really volatile, which because you see it go up and down. It's like jam. Like, but that's what for me like time preference. Like I'm not looking for tomorrow. I'm looking for a year, 2 years, 3 years. So it's. But what about yourself, Joe? Like.
Yeah, like I'll say like when it comes to time, I really relate to you when like because like if you have like your own Bitcoin like personal reserve, and you have that as like a sense of security, like you're not tied into the bank, so it won't be lost. Then you can actually start spending your time with the people that you love. Start spending time in like the countries that you love. Like I'm huge on that.
I think that's so freaking cool.
Like it's like I had like the ability to go down to El Salvador and meet like the president's brother and meet the people in government there. And like we did like the first like Bitcoin donation in El Salvador to the only children's hospital, for example. And I had that privilege to do that because like I had a Bitcoin reserve. So that means I had time. So that means I didn't have to like waste so much time at a 9 to 5. These are like the realistic implications of having your own personal Bitcoin reserve, okay? And then if you can like spend it, like so like when I was in like El Salvador, like I was able to like spend it to buy some coconuts and watermelons, stuff like that. Like like these are like the realistic things. Or like they did they did a horrible job at like educating actual people on how to use Bitcoin. So like we were going down there and actually like teaching people and actually how to live on Bitcoin. Like hello, like this is legal tender. For better or for worse, how it was done, it was done, and these people didn't know how to use Bitcoin, so we're teaching them actually how to live on Bitcoin, and I'm trying to pay you in Bitcoin, so like it's money, and of course they're going to accept that, but I really relate to your story, like it really gave me my time back, and even for what I'm doing now, like me starting up like a business or you starting up any sort of business, if you have that Bitcoin reserve, that gives you time to focus on the things that you love and focus on the people that you love.
That's awesome. And just to keep like just harping on like the time aspect, like it's very important like how we spend our time, like and working in something and doing something that when you're making a difference and you're passionate and like your passions align. It just makes it not ever feel like work. It's just like I look forward to being able to like help someone, even if it's only one person. Like, and everyone's doing that like in their own way, whether it's sharing your story in animation or just helping people get a passport. So it's cool how like we live on Bitcoin, but because like we think that way, now people are building and using their talents to continue like to build on that like foundation of Bitcoin. And everyone does it completely different. Like I asked living on Bitcoin, asked everyone to share a story, and they're all like completely different. So it's very fascinating. What else is like living on Bitcoin like? How do you see the future of living on Bitcoin? And if you could talk to like the younger generation, because they're learning about Bitcoin, like for them, how like, what are your thoughts for that?
Don't speculate with your rent. Honestly, what would I tell the younger version? I think you should all be able to have control of your own money. I think when you're getting paid by a company, I think you definitely should have the right to use that money right away, and as opposed to banks that use your money with their, interests before you
Are you a
actually
fan of
get your money.
401ks then?
No comment.
Same.
But yeah, I would definitely say Bitcoin is the future. Obviously, the rooms keep getting bigger and bigger every year. I heard Vegas was insane, and I'm so sad that Charlie and I didn't get to make it. But we'll definitely be at the next one. And yeah, so just hold on for life, because we're going to need it, because I think we're going to be diversifying through gold, fiat, but I think fiat's going away, and I think digital currency is definitely the future, and that's what they're going to be using eventually. So, if not more than we are now.
I agree with that.
For the young, I mean, it depends on the age. I know, but I guess for the young people in this room, if you're not all in on Bitcoin at this point, and you're already dabbling, it's the obvious answer. It's the obvious solution, so what are you waiting for? If you still have questions, then I'll say what my dad told me. He's like, no what ifs. You do it, you know it. And so if you are in Bitcoin and you're just buying and you never actually use it, you don't put it in self-custody, you don't try to understand what the asset is, I think they should just do it and then know it. And then there's no what ifs.
Like the more they use the network, the more they know it, and then naturally continue to learn more.
I'll say it's pretty easy. Like save in Bitcoin and spend in fiat, right?
Oh, I'm going to...
What did you say? You said no?
No, so basically, when you get your paycheck, take a certain portion. So like here, let me tell you what I did. When I quit the corporate world, I liquidated my whole 401k and I put it into Bitcoin. Like, boom, done. I also sold my home and put that all into Bitcoin, done. And I've been kind of like nomadic since, and just traveling all over the place. I'm like just like you. And so when you do these things, not only do you feel more sense of control, but you feel like that more sovereignty. So earn your fiat, put a certain portion of that or a sizable portion, and just throw it into Bitcoin. If you want to dabble into alts or Ethereum, I recommend not, but this is not financial advice. But this is a Bitcoin event, so I'll say it.
Yeah, you're allowed to go to the casino, but in a casino you might lose. So that's how I view alts. You can do, if that's what your prerogative, teach their own.
I had to say something.
Yeah.
Because people are going to think about it, especially like the younger crowd, like they'll want to dabble on like other chains and like Solana.
I mean, I did it first. I was a shit coiner. Like, I feel that was my...
We're all guilty.
Yeah, it's like...
We're all guilty.
I got into Bitcoin, wanted to make money into other things, and then as Bitcoin went up, probably we all like a similar kind of story, I started wanting to learn a little bit more about what the hell I actually own, and then as you learn about what you own, like why the hell would I own something that's not as good as this? Like, but you can go gamble if you want. It's teach their own.
There's a lesson to learn.
Yeah, 100%. I'm glad I went through
a
that.
lesson to learn. Yeah, and they'll learn it quick.
Yeah, it's just...
Have you learned, Joey?
I have learned, yeah.
I also want to say, I think it's really important. I don't know if you guys know the athletes. They have people now teaching the younger version, or the young kids, how to invest their money in crypto and Bitcoin, just to manage their money a little bit better. And I think that's really, really great that they're doing that. So I just want to get that message out there if you guys didn't know.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Kids learning about it at such a young age, and then thinking about our future. Like, they're the ones that are going to be building stuff, and they're seeing it from like a kid's perspective. That, like, remember being like teenagers, like they're the future of Bitcoin. Like, they're going to continue to build on Bitcoin, and it's really like just wild to think about what they're going to build, because we don't even know yet. So it's really cool. The reason why this is important to me, my two sisters are right there.
Hi.
So I do have to give them a little
Nice to
shout
meet
out.
you.
They are twins. They just graduated high school in May. So I just wanted to say congratulations.
Congrats.
But time, like I always talk about time because it's like very important. Like, they're 18 now. I remember when they were born, and in 18 years, like another generation is gonna come, and like it's just wild to think about. But like holding something and living on a standard where hey, like this is set in stone. This is like it just gives you that peace and hope. And also, like, I love sharing about that with them and having them learn about it. And it's so cool to see their eyes start spinning, because like that's the next generation that's going to continue to push the message forward. And if Bitcoin's going to be around, for a long time, we need that next generation. So it's really cool, like, just to see like the future people living on Bitcoin.
Awesome.
But John, how much time do we have? Okay, we do want to do like maybe a couple Q&As if anybody has a question. Does anybody want?
Yeah, I do. Thanks for sharing, guys, also. But I have a question. Obviously, Bitcoin runs in cycles, right? It goes up, it goes down. Do you guys move it around at all to leverage the higher prices in these cycles? Or do you just buy Bitcoin, leave it in there, and you just use it?
I use it. I could care less about the cycles.
Yeah.
At
Buy
first
high,
it-
buy low, buy consistently.
At first, so because I didn't have a bank account, since 2020, the only way I could get paid was in Bitcoin. And so every time I got paid, it's essentially dollar cost averaging automatically. So I would just get it, then spend it. And when it dipped, I'd get more Bitcoin and just spend the equivalent amount. So at a certain,
Here,
Walk us through like the last week of like how many, like what you do for transactions, how you book flights, I mean just day-to-day stuff.
oh yeah, sure. So to book a flight and a hotel and a car rental, there's a site called Trivala. They take Bitcoin natively on chain. So I mean, we came from Europe just last week, this week. So
what's a day?
Yeah. So I mean, we bought the plane ticket and we came here. That's,
There's a roundabout way for a lot of those things.
So I'll give you just like 3 really straightforward solutions to that, because a lot of places outside of Steak and Shake don't. You can buy a gift card from BitRefill or the Bitcoin company. You buy the gift card, you go and you scan the QR code. Done. Another way is the crypto debit cards. You can sign up with, I don't know, whoever is out there, but yeah, Gemini, whatever. Load your card up, go and spend from the card, easy peasy. That's pretty much it. And then
BitPay?
BitPay too, yeah. Then the third way, you can buy prepaid Visa cards from BitRefill or the Bitcoin company. Put in the amount you want, load the card to your phone's wallet, and then tap to pay. And then that's really it. That's just 3 really simple solutions. I can give you maybe another 7.
There's plenty out there. Just, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, here's one that I use a lot. I use a service called like Spritz, and it's essentially a software, so it's basically a
Bill
service.
pay, yeah.
Yeah, so like, I just use my credit card, and then I can use Spritz to like basically liquidate my Bitcoin and then pay off my credit card or pay off other bills I have or like utility bills. And so because like sometimes like getting like a crypto like debit card or getting like a gift card sometimes is like a little bit challenging. So if you just have like your normal card or you have your normal like bills you pay and then you use that service to basically pay off. So like that's another way, but obviously if you can pay directly with Bitcoin, that's preferred, but this is just kind of like an easy step you can do because it doesn't change like your day-to-day action too much, but you're still spending your Bitcoin.
You gotta be careful with Spritz though, because they just shut down your card.
Yeah, they shut down the prepaid card, but you can still use the bill pay service. I think there's like another one that's out there. It works in Florida really nicely, but
Yeah.
Charlie, do you know any?
Oh, Strike? Okay.
Yeah, Strike definitely has bill pay.
yeah. So there's way
There's a
more
lot of-
services now than there was in 2020.
And they're only going to they're going to continue to build these because they're going to want our business, and more companies are going to continue, and competition is going to breed better companies, and there's going to be some that fail, some that make it, and the ones that make it, like, they're going to be great for our industry. But don't trust verify, like, don't just, be very careful what exchanges you use. Obviously, you hear about like the phishing links in email, the links that you click on. Just be very careful because you don't want to lose your Bitcoin. And I've learned from experience. I'm sure some other people have as well. But it's, just take care of your Bitcoin. Like Trump said, like have fun playing with your Bitcoins. and we all do that differently. Any other one more question, guys?
I got one. What's your favorite purchase you ever made with Bitcoin?
Go ahead.
The apartment that Charlie and I got to move into before he got arrested.
I don't know if it's just one purchase, but the last 2 years, just traveling with my wife, and I mean, I would trade that for the world. That was Bitcoin worth spent.
I piggyback on that.
Is she here?
Yeah, she's right there.
Hello.
Hi.
All right, last thoughts for you?
Yeah, I'll say for me, and you like those pretty good.
Sorry,
I know.
someone has to.
Coming after that, I'll say probably the coolest purchases I did was when I was down in El Salvador for the first time and actually like using it and teaching them how to use it and using like wallets and stuff like that. So like buying coconuts or watermelon or coffee, especially. I love coffee. That's probably like my favorite purchases because it's like they were learning on the spot on how to, and that was the cool part.
Heck yeah.
I will say we also helped my brother. He was buying his first house, building his first house. And Charlie and I were able to help him make his dream come true. So that was really, really special to us that we were able to help him do that.
That's amazing. Well, thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Really great.